Alrighty, let's take a gander here. Got the old shadow play, huh? I'm sorry for your loss. Shadow play stopped working for me forever ago. Okay, so real quick here, I know this is like hasn't even started yet, but this popping up over it probably means you're in borderless windowed mode, right? Your input lag is gonna be freaking garbage with borderless windowed. Just FYI, like it's gonna be way more annoying to like track shit, depending on the computer. So I would recommend full screen, but I mean, hey, you do what you want. Zarya. Alright, let's go ahead. But just real quick here. I know this is Zarya VOD review, like that's the whole point. But Zarya is not that good on first point Numbani, just because there's so much high ground that she really can't access. Diva's way, way better. But you can make her work. You can make her work. Like you can make any character work. But just this is not her best map. Know that. That's fine. But just keep that in mind.
Yeah, man.
Mike's nice. Mike's. Mike's a competitive. It's a crazy thing. Happens sometimes though.
How do you feel about heals, Cheeseburger, or do you want me to heal?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah.
I don't mind. Up to you. If you want to stop, let me know.
Okay, so Moira's not that really good on this map either. But I mean, hey, if you're both on the ground, I guess it's fine. Alright, I'm gonna skip forward just a little here. Okay. Okay, so you got triple tank, right? You got Diva. Oh, that was a really early bubble. Alright, so you bubbled him here. Nobody can even see him, I don't think. Like you got shot from over here. There's nobody up here. Nobody can see him. So when you want to time the bubble on Winston is right as he hits the peak of his jump is when you want to put the bubble on him. So like say he's jumping in an arc like this, like that, you want to hit him right there. Or either right as he lands or right as he hits the peak of his jump, because that's when people are going to start shooting him. Right here is that's not a very good bubble, because by the time he lands, it's gone. So you put it on, bubble lasts 2 seconds, it's gone. He's not even landed yet, and you got 0 charge from that. So you want a pretty early bubble there too. So ideally, you want to bubble yourself and other tanks when you're already taking damage or you are imminently about to take damage. So right here, you are being defense matrixed right now. You have a defense matrix over you. It's physically not possible for you to take damage at this point in time. So it's not really a good one. So you want to catch flame strikes with it, that's fine. But like where'd that even come from? Yeah, that was not a bad bubble on the Zen since he's walking into Junkrat spam. But your first bubble on yourself and your first bubble on your Winston were not the best. See right here, this would be a good bubble for your Winston. You want to wait for someone to look at him. There you go. That's a good bubble. That was a nice bubble. And right now, so you asked for mics, right? But nobody's talking. So you want to be calling out this guy right here who's 1 HP. You want to be like, hey, this Zen is weak. You'd be like, okay, Winston, get him, get him, get Zen. You're like, Zen 1. And you got him. You got him, it's cool. All's well that Zen's well, but it's a good bubble on your Diva.
Pig's nearly done.
I probably would have chased that hog because I don't. He was discorded.
Junkrat,
Or no, he wasn't discorded. Why didn't he kill you? What?
Done.
I don't know why he didn't kill you. Like he could have. Okay. No, you were bubbled right here, I guess. That was a nice bubble right there.
Oh, nice one.
That was a really nice bubble. Bubbling the guy that the tire went for here. Huge, actually. Actually huge. Like bubbling this guy. Perfect. Actually perfect. He didn't get to blow it up. But had he blown it up, he wouldn't have got the kill, which is really important.
Nice.
So that was a fantastic bubble.
We might be able to go. Oh no.
So right here, you should probably be pushing up just a little bit, try and maintain your charge and build your grav. You don't need to be on the point. Like as Zarya, you should not be cart bitch almost ever, just because you need to stay on the front line and keep your charge up. Like that's pretty important. Like you can maybe ride cart if you're like already no charge,
Heal, heal,
but
heal.
you probably just want to be on the front
What's
line,
behind
making
on the
sure
right?
you get some charge. And the one thing you want to be thinking about as like they have a Roadhog, right? They're running Roadhog Reinhardt, I think, as their tanks. So the main counter to like their hog right now is both you and Diva, because you don't have a Reinhardt to hide behind for shield. So your squishies, your McCree, your Zen, they are easily hookable for a lot of the time because they don't you don't have a shield other than Winston's shield, which is pretty intermittently available. So the way that they're going to survive being hooked is by either you pressing E on them when they get yoinked or Diva holding right click. And it has to be one of those two that's going to save them. So a lot of the time, if there's a hog that's landing hooks with anything even bordering on consistency, you might want to not use your bubbles aggressively like on your Winston, but you want to use them on people who are getting hooked. But right now your Winston's diving against a Reaper, so I mean it's fine. Like a lot of the time you do want to use it aggressively. Just you want to keep in mind keeping it for hooks is often ideal. That was not a very good bubble here. So I know you said you were, I think you mentioned you were not too sure about the bubble usage, so I'm just going to mention whenever you do bad ones. So this one right here, they're backing up because you guys just used this ult here, so they are on the back foot here. So if this McCree were to roll in, I'd maybe bubble him. But like you don't need the charge. You're at 100 charge. You don't need the charge. So you use your bubbles for life-saving
Grab
bubbles.
close.
When
Is that
you're
Reaper?
full and you don't need the charge, you do it to save lives. Nice shot melting.
I got grab. Let me know when you want to wombo.
So this is,
Combo.
I mean, not a good bubble, but they're all dead anyways, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, come over with me.
So I'd be pushing up a little bit more here, trying to maintain the charge. It's a good pick on the Zen here. But see, your charge is all the way down to 50 now. It's not the worst bubble ever, because he's peeking, so that's okay.
Oh, yeah, fire up top left.
Your Diva's doing some crazy shit. It's cool. So here I'd literally, like if anybody tries to come for the contest, I would just grab them. Yeah, like right here, I would just grab cart. Just kill him. Before this gets out of hand, I probably would have grabbed it.
Watch out for that hog, he's got me. Oh, thank you.
Because like you're relatively high charge, you can build another grab pretty quick here. I mean, you guys didn't really need it, but like, there's no reason not to. Like, you can just build another one. You're 100 charge, and you guys have a fuck ton of ults. So I probably would have grabbed that just to ensure that you won the fight.
Alright,
And you would have only needed grab. They have no defensive ults. You would have been fine. And then you could have built well on your way to another one. But it's fine. Saving grab there. You didn't need it. That's not necessarily a bad call.
Right behind, in a little room to it.
It's a good job pushing the Reaper away there, peeling him off. That was a questionable trance by your Zen.
There it is. Oh, fuck.
I mean, hey, they shattered you, but I mean, you tranced, and I guess
We can
that was a decent trade for you guys, mostly because they shattered and tranced, and you grabbed. So that's kind of like 2 ults for 1, but your Zen tranced too, so that's kind of.
Where'd he go?
It's okay though. Hey, nice, huge. Holy crap!
Nice.
What the hell?
I think it was on the
Your
right.
team is destroying people. So the only thing mechanically that I noticed is Zarya is you need to do a little bit more right clicking. Your aim is pretty decent. You do a lot of left clicking. You're usually relatively high charge, but like when you're chilling in the back line, so like say earlier when you were like chilling back on card here, like just be spamming all the right clicks, right? All the time right clicks. So trying to build grav, trying to harass the enemy, just right click all the time. Especially if you don't have grav, you do, so it's fine. You don't, but I'll let you on a little bit more right clicking. I'd like to see, because especially like you'll get more damage per clip right clicking. a lot of the time because you can splash hit multiple people, and also like right click takes 25 ammo out of your 100, so you can right click 4 times before you got to reload. But you can also right click. Say you have 1 ammo of 100, you can right click. So at the end of a clip, always right click.
Oh, we can do this. We can do this.
I can skip here. Round complete. So this isn't the best map for Zarya, as I said earlier, and that's because of the high ground. This very
guys
similar
just
to
wanna hold
Gibraltar
point,
in
or
that way, where there's a
go
lot of
upstairs,
high
still
ground on
up?
the first point. So it's not that good for
probably
Zarya.
take
Zarya is a
that
lot better on the
that
streets
Zephyr
phase
to
in this
front.
map.
Cool.
Okay, what is this flashing going on right
Neutral
now?
spot.
Oh, that's you spamming tab. Okay.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it is. Okay. But yeah, so on the streets phase, Zarya's a lot
Key
better
here is that
because there's not a
monkey
lot of
doesn't
high
need to dive
ground.
in. You just
You're
wanna
just pushing the
you
cart.
dive so
They
you
gotta
can
fight you on
boom
cart
around
anyways.
this point.
But here, there's a
So
lot of high
let's just
ground
pick
for
off
them
from
to
up top.
abuse,
Yeah,
and
let us know when you're
Zarya
gonna dive. I'll be up.
doesn't really have an answer for that. So a lot of the time,
I use
you wanna
his
on
build
defense, it's a little
build
easier
game.
because you can start on high ground and you only need to drop to point occasionally. So starting on high ground
We
here
get
is
a little bit
definitely
of
the way
charge
to
from
do
the
it.
bubble here.
So I'd probably wait 3 or 4 seconds, hit him with the old right click. Questionable bubble on the Zen there.
Alright, go. Pull back.
I like the right clicks here. You should be a little bit further up though, like you're playing in the back line here. So, like right here, you're the off tank, right? Like you are behind everyone. Like you want to be right here, right in front of your Moira, behind this guy. That's where you want to be. Decent bubble on the Winston, just so we could peek and get some aggression there. They're not
Shield
really
burn.
pushing, so this is like free ult charge and stuff for you. Should be,
Going.
yeah. Careful here though.
Nice.
Okay, you guys are up 1 now. You are very high charge. It is time to get aggressive. Nice job pushing in there.
Alright, pull back.
You probably bubble the diva there or your monkey when they get aggressive. Nice.
Pull back.
I don't think you guys need to pull back here. So you just killed literally everyone, right? Like you guys are up right now. Like most of their team is dead and in spawn. None of you have died. You have lots of people alive right now. So you just need to
Fine.
pushing up and staggering them is totally fine. It's not even dangerous because what are they going to do? There are 2 players that have respawned are going to come out of spawn and take a 2v6. You shouldn't be scared of that. You should be definitely pushing up and securing every kill that they will allow you to get. And if that brings you to their spawn door, fine. As long as your entire team goes to the spawn door and you're sure that there's nobody going to backcap. And you guys weren't far enough away that they could have backcapped, and you definitely like had them all bottled up there. So pushing up there, totally fine. A little early on the bubble there. So when you're bubbling against a Reinhardt, so they switched Reinhardt. So what I usually do when I'm playing Zarya and I'm this close to our Reinhardt, he's a melee hero, as you probably are aware. I'll wait for him to begin the swing, and the swing only damages you about halfway through it, right? Because that's when it hits you. So I'll wait for him to start the swing before I ever bubble, because you get 0 charge here, right? Because he shielded, he didn't swing. Like you thought he was gonna swing, he did. So if you're going to shield a Reinhardt, wait for him to start the swing and then shield. Because sometimes Reinhardts will try to bait it out just by like walking up to you. Or sometimes they'll actually bait it out in higher reloads, like they'll start the swing and then cancel with the shield. But usually, if they start the swing, they're going to hit you, so that's fine to bubble. So here is why Zarya is not that good on this map. So you dropped, right? You dropped. I don't know why did we drop here. Hold up. Okay, there's 1 on point, right? There's 1 on point. You don't need to drop here. Your diva's on point. She's contesting. It's the tank's job to contest, yes, but the diva has high ground, right? She has high ground control. The diva is the one that should be contesting, not you. You need to be up here holding with your Winston. So there's 1 person on point. You do not need 4 people to drop. That is completely unnecessary. So if this 1 person gets out alive, they've literally just like, and then they win the fight, they've literally just carried it single-handedly. They don't have to get any kills, they would carry it. However, he fed, so whatever. But see, your Winston and your diva are already back on high ground. You can't do that. So as Zarya, you're not allowed to just relinquish high ground just for funsies like they can. So you should still be up here, basically. Like maybe you would have backed up over to this way so you don't get steamrolled, but you should have still been up here. Because now the only way you can help is just by
Attention, mate, I'm
lobbing
fucked.
right clicks up there from a
Wait,
billion
wait.
years away.
Thanks,
Sorry,
Mora.
don't worry.
So I don't think you just called out that guy in the back stairs, but you should be like, hey, there's Genji or whoever the heck behind us. Like, let's go get him. Or pushing up with your team is also fine, but... Okay, I don't think that bubble was necessary because I think he was already dead. But I mean, it's not like garbage because sometimes bubbles like that you just kind of Hail Mary and you can't really tell exactly what's going on. Sometimes those are great bubbles. So yeah, this diva here, she's coming into cover. She's strafing this way. She's about to be in cover, so I wouldn't have bubbled here. You bubble them as they leave cover usually, not when they're entering cover, especially if they're not that weak. So I don't think I would have bubbled that. Once again, Zarya with the high ground, I probably would be working my way back up here because if they come up on high ground right now, you're like literally just all you can do is get shot at. So you need to be on high ground right now. Like it's fine that your team's on the point down here, but you should be up here or up here somewhere where you can be on high ground because you can always, if you need to, drop off high ground, but you don't have a jetpack. So if you for some reason need to be on high ground, you don't have that option right now.
Where?
So you should be up on high ground, basically.
Nice. Alright, Ryan's coming around behind. Ryan's coming
It's
around
a
behind.
questionable
He's gonna
trance
hammer.
there.
Top right.
Okay, that was
Trying to kill him.
interesting.
Nice.
So yeah, your bubbles can block Ryan Shatter. I'm pretty confident you know that, which is probably why you bubbled yourself there. But yeah, for Reinhardt, if you know that he's like getting real aggressive like this and doing some stupid flank shit,
Alright, Ryan's coming
like
around behind. Ryan's coming around behind.
most of them don't do it off the high rope like this, and it's really really good that you say, hey, Ryan's coming around behind. That's really good. Most of them don't do it off the high rope, but you see him coming around behind. You know he's getting real aggressive. He wants the
He's gonna
shatter.
hammer.
So when he's doing that, yeah, I think you even said he's gonna hammer. So you just sit there with your finger on left shift and you wait for it. And you just block it. And then you save your team shield. If he were to shatter anybody and try and
Nice,
charge him
nice.
or pin him, you just bubble whoever he pins. So that was an okay bubble on the diva, I guess, but I don't think she was fighting anyone.
Oh, McCray up top.
But like you couldn't have really known that necessarily, so it's not the worst.
Always knew McCree was the top.
So yeah, I'd probably be getting high ground again here. It'll also make it easier for you to get charge if you're holding high ground because you can see more of the map.
Okay, you're all good.
All right, so questionable bubble, questionable. Your Winston jumped off the map, big dude. Okay, so your Winston jumped off the map. They got one on point here. You got a couple people to your right. So you guys are down one. But you have grab. This is totally winnable. You don't have any charge, though, is the main thing. So if you were 100 charge, you could probably just grab for all the people to your right, kill them all by yourself. But since you have 0 charge, you do not have the ability to follow up on your grab by yourself. So you need to be like, hey, teammate, person with ultimate, like ult into my grab, or like communicate it just a little bit. Give your team some time. Be like, hey, I'm going to grab, I'm looking for a grab up on high ground. Tell them like, hey, this is where it's going to be. I'm going to do a thing. And then they can follow up on it because you don't have any charge. So you might win anyways, to be honest, because your team's been doing pretty well. I wouldn't have dropped here once again, but it's fine, I guess. Okay, I would literally solo grab this Genji is what I would do.
Ah,
So your team, your Zen here, I think he ulted last fight, like, and it wasn't a very good one. So you didn't have trance for that. So I would have solo grabbed that Genji is what I would have done. So right here, when you hear him ult, where is he? You hear it. He's right here. You hear him above you. So he's going to dash straight for your supports, right? I would have just solo grabbed him.
ah.
Or just to keep him off me, I would have solo grabbed him.
Oh no, I popped the grab.
I mean, that's okay. Your team won.
Make it work. Nice.
But I would have done it with the, just to get the Genji. I would have done that. Because a lot of the time, if you don't have a defensive ultimate, and it's an ultimate like Genji's ultimate,
fuck
Genji's
yeah.
ultimate obviously is a melee ultimate, so he needs to be close to you to kill you. A Genji and a Graviton, totally useless.
What's he won?
Nice.
So your team kind of clutched that there. But,
You took some damage.
Yeah, the enemy's taken pretty All right, so let's see here. So your Winston's up here, right? Your Diva's on point. You should be looking for your main tank, right? Usually you bubble the main tank. You don't bubble the off tank. You bubble the main tank. And Diva is not, she doesn't have as much synergy with Zarya just because of the, she'll hold right click while she's bubbled. She'll take no damage because she's holding right click and you'll get no charge. So it's just not very synergistic relationship. But with Winston, it's much better. Like if you're not communicating with the Diva, it's not as good. And also, she's not in a fight. Your Winston over here, he's up on high ground. He's about to drop on him, right? He's literally inside of them right now, back here. So like, you want to peek the Winston and bubble him. That would have been a good bubble. Not terrible though, since your Diva did go in with it and took a little bit of damage, but
Nice, nice.
it just, you want to bubble the Winston, you want to bubble the main tank almost every time. If it's an aggressive bubble where you want to get damage, like you're just doing it for charge, you're not doing it because you're saving lives, then it should be on the main tank like 9 times out of 10. You want to be calling out this Lucio on point? Alright, that's nice. So, you had a pretty good comms for most of it. There were some times where you're a little
Nice.
quiet. Aggressive bubbles on the main tank. When you're full charge, just bubbles only to save lives, that's it. Oh, and it also triggers me how you're not in full screen a little bit. It's okay though. But mechanically, you're not that bad though. You just need to think about when you're using your bubbles and why you're using your bubbles. So when you are full charge, you need to use bubbles to gain charge when you're at 95 charge. So you just wait for somebody to be in trouble or for them to take a lot of damage and you bubble them. Or you get somebody who's getting really, really aggressive on like the back line and you bubble them, maybe. Like if they're in danger of getting stunned or focused. But you don't just throw it on like somebody just for shits and giggles when like you could maybe need it. Okay. Oh yeah, and then the high ground thing with maps that you're playing Zarya that do have high ground. Just make sure that you are very, very reluctant to give up that high ground because you can't just take it back. Okay. If you got any questions, feel free to DM me. But that was a pretty short game, and you guys did win it pretty commandingly there. So if you're gonna send me another VOD, that's totally cool. Just try to make it a little bit of a closer game would be great, because honestly, you guys were destroying them, and they never stood a chance. So there wasn't a whole lot to say because you guys were just dominating. So a loss or a close game would be awesome if you have one of those. Alrighty, I'm gonna end the video here.